right now. Let's bring on the Newshub entertainment editor and film reviewer, Kate Rodger. Kate, good morning to you.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Marvelous. You're sounding amazing. You're looking amazing. And we thank you for joining us.
Oh, look, it's an absolute bloody pleasure, mate. Thanks for asking me.
I thought, you know what, to be honest, I thought when I saw you on Newshub last night, I saw the clip on YouTube and it was 1:27. I thought, Kate's got more to say about this than that show's given her in 1:27. So let's get her on and talk about what we all saw. And as I said, we're going to be talking shortly to a journalist from the New York Times who was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess just floor is yours, Kate. You're the expert in this whole kind of entertainment world. Tell us your thoughts about what you saw yesterday.
That's very flattering. I wish I was a true expert. But yeah, I've covered a lot of Oscars in the flesh, and unfortunately, due to having COVID, I couldn't go over for this one. And you can imagine how gutted I was when the biggest news story and what feels like forever unfolded in front of our freaking eyes. It was so crazy because I was sitting here at my desk in the newsroom watching the unfolding, literally headphones on, batting away, doing the scripting that I need to do for the story. And I thought that we just lost sound as I was looking at the TV, and I thought, that's weird. Why have we lost sound? And then it just erupted from there. I couldn't believe my eyes because, like everybody else, and like you dudes probably thought, I thought the whole smacking was a full setup. I didn't think it was real. And that's when things slowly descended into madness. And I was thinking, can somebody please lip read Will Smith? Because I'm pretty sure he's telling Chris Rock to go fuck himself. So yeah, it was intense, wasn't it? It was intense. And you're right. It was very late in the piece. We had a 6 o'clock program to get together and we slammed it all together and away we went.
So let me check this. You were, because I was watching it as well, but I was watching it TV2 online on demand.
Yeah. Yeah.
TV2, were you watching them? Because that didn't cut at all.
I know. So weirdly enough, we get, because we're not TVNZ, we don't have the rights, we get it directly from ABC. So that gets fed through PAC TV in LA directly into our foreign suite. So we didn't have the sound. So, and I didn't get to see it until Japanese TV tweeted it. And then of course, lots of Kiwis were going, no, this is actually going down in real time. And I've had a chat since then, obviously. Petra Brett Kelly is a top-notch documentary filmmaker here in New Zealand. She was in the audience at the Oscars. She's a voter. She got invited. She went. Wow. I Zoomed with her in the last half an hour. And oh my Lord, she said it was absolute pandemonium. And she had, bird's eye view of everything went down, and no one could believe it. The shock and awe in that room. She said the whole crowd mentality of something like this, because we look at it and we look. Firstly, Will Smith laughed at Chris Rock's joke to begin with.
And clap.
If you saw that cutaway, and clap, and then looked at Jada, who went, if you were watching her when that joke was said, and don't get me wrong, that was a tasteless bullshit joke. She rolled her eyes, and that's when Smith kind of went into action. At that moment, everybody's still laughing. And even his yelling, they're still laughing. But for her, for Petra, it was actually that she felt so incensed when everybody gave him a standing ovation after he did his winner's speech for Best Actor. So they're almost two different reactions to two different parts of what was an unfolding story. I don't know. What are your thoughts on his speech?
Yeah, let's have a look at this as well, because you're talking about a bird's eye view. Obviously, what happened straight away is people grabbed out their phones. So this is this is a literal bird's eye view from inside the building. This is after the slap. Now, this down here in this corner, you'll see Will Smith down here. This is when Bradley Cooper came up to him and gave him a hug. There's 2 clips. The second one is actually Denzel talking to him. Apparently, Denzel talked to him and kind of, talked about what was going on. And then Bradley Cooper talked to him. But Will Smith's crying in the ad break. If you can see this, if you can't see this, put it on your smart TV when you get home. You'll see at one stage he pulls a hanky out of his pocket and he wipes his eyes. So it's emotion filled. Just have a look. I'm not going to play the sound, but if you have a look at the action down. So there's Will Smith and Bradley Cooper, right? Embracing. We all got that? So this is after the slap. Will Smith puts his hands in his pockets, pulls out a handkerchief of some sort, and then sits back down next to his wife.
Yeah. What does that say to you?
It says to me, I think I just fucked up. Maybe. I mean, maybe. Like I tweeted out yesterday, and I'm not saying I know this for sure, but it feels like 15 seconds of madness has ruined 30 years of being one of the nicest guys in Hollywood. Like
Yeah.
I know some people are jumping on the bandwagon who are like, oh, I've never rated Will Smith. No, I'm a huge Will Smith fan.
Same.
Like his music, his movies, even his bad ones with his son, I've watched. But he's been the person for me that there's not many of them, but if I see their name in a movie, that's the reason I will watch that movie. So my opinions aren't coming from a hater; they're coming from the opposite. But
no. But you're coming from the heart of what. So I feel exactly the same as you, and I've had the privilege of interviewing him 3 separate times. He's a gentleman. He's a generous interview. I know he's always selling something, and he understands the business of selling. And you get a real insight into that if you read his book, which, by the way, is a cracking read. I'm sure he'll be adding a few more chapters to that before it gets re-released on Audible. But it is, as a Will Smith fan, you're kind of heartbroken. And Denzel said to him, it's in that moment where the devil comes for you. And oh, God, ain't that the truth?
But I also think that's a load of shit, because what he did in his speech, which you asked us about, sorry, True, you can jump in after me. I'm hogging the limelight here, speaking of Hollywood, is he evoked God or religion at least twice. And as soon as you do that, what you're saying is, don't question me and don't challenge me. This is a spiritual thing. I've got God on my side. So I thought that was abhorrent, another abhorrent part of the whole conversation.
Look, but also that he said that love makes you do crazy things. It also makes, other men beat the absolute shit out of their wives. I mean, love does crazy things. Sure. It's not acceptable in any way, shape or form to someone to get up on the stage at the Oscars and smack another human being.
I've seen a lot of people, like I do stand-up comedy and that sort of thing, and certainly the discussion among stand-up comedians is like, well, first of all, shitty joke. Like,
shitty joke.
Wrong venue. You're not doing a late night comedy thing. It's not a roast battle.
Yeah.
Not cool. But then the shift is pretty dramatic of people going, hey, look, when you're up on stage like that, you're all alone. And the amount of stories that came out of comedians of like, it reminds me of this one time that someone didn't like what I said and came up, smacked me in the mouth on stage and that sort of thing. And what can you do? So it's been interesting. Like, my whole take on this is that there isn't a winner here. It's certainly not Jada. It's not Will, and it's not Chris. It's just a shit show.
Well, I mean, it's like a Kanye moment times 1,000. I mean, Will Smith forevermore won't be celebrated for his Oscar win. That's not what people are going to remember. I mean, every time he's been up, whether it's Ali, Pursuit of Happiness, all these things, I'm like, I hope he wins. And now he's like, all I'm thinking about and talking about is not finally, it's this assault. And I'm going to keep using the word assault, because people who are saying, it's just him defending his wife. It's like, well, so what we're saying is, violence is never the answer unless you say it is because you think you have a good reason to do it. From the same community that's often criticized for being, too soft and open and safe space and, protect these groups and make sure, and words of violence and all that kind of stuff, are now defending some within that sector from actual violence committed between two people. I think it's horrible. I think it's disgusting.
Hey, what's your thought on how the academies reacted to this?
Too little, too late. They moved too slowly. I mean, I honestly, I realized saying this from the outside, it was probably problematic to do, but I come back to, if it was anybody else, they would have been out of there in a heartbeat. So I know, and I'm naive in saying this because he was about to win an Oscar, but if it had been anyone else, they would have been out of there. I think he should have been out of there. If I have to pick one side or the other, understanding that it's not a black and white world we live in, but if I had to pick one, it said he should have been out of the building. And I think that it's just evidence of sort of fame, privilege, that famous people and wealthy people and powerful people can get away and do things that us mere mortals could never do. Sorry, Chewy.
Yeah.
I mean, the Academy put out that statement in pretty short order that they don't condone violence, rah-de-rah-de-rah. They are getting clapped on social media for that.
Yeah.
Because they have given, how many awards has Harvey Weinstein still got?
Well, he's only got one Oscar, but he's been involved in like 81 different Oscars over the years. He's still got his sitting on his bloody wall in his prison cell. So there's not a lot of context when it comes to that kind of thing. Petra this morning made a really great comment to me, which I thought, imagine this world where instead they maybe took him out of the building and maybe Serena and Venus accepted his award on his behalf. Can you imagine how powerful that would have been? I don't know. Variety's just put out a story about what the hell was going on in the ABC control room at the time. I haven't had a chance to properly read that. In terms of unfolding events, we had an Oscars that ran 40 minutes over its suspected duration when they spent the last 2 weeks cutting genuine Oscars out of that awards. So it would be a short telecast. And also it overshadowed everything else that came after that, not just him, but Campion and Coda. And yes, of course, we're talking about this and we should be talking about this. But for me, as a nerdy cinephile, it's kind of gutting.
I mean, as far as sending a message goes, imagine if after that, Jada and Will just got up and left. And then they go to present the best actor and he's not there and everybody knows why he's not there.
Or he had have said in his speech, like he hadn't done anything. And in his speech, he had have pointed out about, you know, making jokes about someone's ailment or whatever is. And I mean, how much more power? Then Chris Rock would have been the arse today. And Will Smith would have been magnanimous and he would have been, and Jada Smith, rather than looking like she was sucking on a lemon, would have been, you know, gracious. And they would have been even more Hollywood royal today than they were in the previous sort of 10 years.
He would still have smacked him on stage, though. You talk about Hollywood royalty and the dividing of the internet. There are a million ways he could have handled the whole thing. First of all, wouldn't you want to see Jada go up on stage and give him a slap? Maybe we've been okay with that, maybe not. Or that he'd stood up or got up and said, you know, we put up with a whole lot of shit and this is as far as it goes, this is not cool, man. There are lots of different ways he could have handled it in terms of rebating Hollywood royalty, but you guys are right. At this point in time, he's a man that assaulted another man on the stage at the Oscars, and it's getting progressively more and more that way. And even interestingly, in the heat of the moment and from an entertainment reporter's perspective, it's such a great story. It had just unfolded. I feel more impassioned and incensed about it now than I did when I was live from the studio yesterday, because it's not just a reflection of social media, but first of all, you get to watch it over and over again, but also you get to look at the fact that he was accepting an award for playing a man who allegedly made two women famous, which was the father of the Serena and Venus Williams, and it was two men dominating the stage at the Oscars and overpowering everything else. So there's a bit of toxic masculinity about it as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And that is a vibe that's been coming out as well. Chewy, you just sent me through this picture. I'm assuming that this was taken at the Vanity Fair.
Oh my God, I love this.
I love this picture.
But look, Kate, before we go, we should absolutely do what today should fucking be about and say, please give us something on Jane Campion. How amazing was that?
It was incredible. People just underestimate what a big fucking deal this is.
Yeah,
and it breaks my heart. She is paving the way. And first of all, we have an Oscars where we've given Best Director to two women 2 years in a row, which is outstanding. The film should have won Best Picture. It's a phenomenal achievement, and it should not be overshadowed. And she is paving the way, not just for female filmmakers, but all filmmakers, with the way that she tells her stories. And I don't ever want that to be overshadowed as a result of what Will Smith did.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, just before we go, not to come back to talk about Will Smith straight away after we just acknowledged her, I just thought this is an interesting point just to leave people with, right? Amy Schumer, who did very well after the event, and we've already kind of showed that, and we've talked about the joke that she made was perfect afterwards, but she is an abrasive, at times filthy for her style kind of comedian. She could have made that joke easily. It's in her wheelhouse. What would Will Smith have done if Amy Schumer had made that joke on stage?
Do you know what? She would not have made that joke on stage.
Well,
she would not have. I swear to God, I know she can be abrasive.
But if she did, what would he have done?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm
saying.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, just, anyway. Hey, Kate, I'm so excited that we've connected with you for big, hairy news. And
I love big
yeah.
hairy news.
Yeah, man.
I can contribute. Yeah, that's the best I can
Well,
do.
we
Big
like to
hairy.
say it's because we chase big, hairy news stories. So
Oh,
that's
even
anyone
better.
can be
Sorry.
involved in.
Let's
But thank
go.
you for
Thank
joining
you.
us today. Really do appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll be in touch again.
I hope so. Cheers, guys.